When transitioning from one season to another, there seems to be something that is quite commonplace when this happens every year for college football. There always seems to be some certain groups of teams that tend to have down years compared to their previous season, and some teams that end up having some of their best seasons in their last few years compared to the previous season. In today's video, I am going to be taking a look at a few teams that I think will rise in 2022 and a few teams I think will have down seasons. Now, as usual, before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first team that I'm going to be talking about in today's video that I think will rise in 2022 is BYU. BYU is coming off a solid 21 campaign in which they went 10-3. They were also an AP high of 10 at some point in the season, and AP postseason poll they were in the top 20. This is a really good season for BYU, especially coming off a year where they went 11-1 and lost a good amount of their production on both sides of the ball. BYU has a shot this season to do something that they've never done before, and that's actually compete for a college football playoff spot. Now, yes, they had a chance in 2020, but their strength of schedule was really weak, so their chances really weren't that high. But BYU, they're returning an amazing amount of their team from last season to this season, as they're returning 85% of their production from their 21 squad to their current 2022 squad. And not only that, their schedule in 2022, in my opinion, it is pretty tough. However, if they have a good season and they win a lot of their games, like go 11-1 or even go undefeated, which would be quite unreal, they're going to have a good shot at the college football playoff. I mean, they play Baylor, Oregon, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Boise State, and Stanford. Those are all games, if they win, that's going to be a very good resume builder for BYU. When talking about the first team that I think will have a down year in 2022, it is Iowa State. Iowa State is coming off a pretty disappointing 21 campaign in which they had very high expectations heading in, being expected to be in the Big 12 championship title game and not even making it. They finished the season 7-6, and this was supposed to be their best team in school history, and that just wasn't the case at all. Iowa State, when talking about returning production from 21 to 2022, it is on the lower end for the FBS level, literally bottom 5, as they're returning 37% of their total production from last season's team to this season's team, which is not a lot. They're losing a lot of talent, and they're really an unproven team. However, I do think Iowa State will be better than what some people think they will. There's some people that think they won't make a bowl game, and I still feel like Iowa State has the potential to make a bowl game. They just have a lot of unproven talent right now, and Matt Campbell, he is a good coach, and you know Iowa State, they're going to be a feisty team that's going to hit you in the face when they really want to. What I mean by that is that they're not a team that's just going to lay there and take a stomping. They're going to try to fight back at all times. And I think they're not going to be as good or talented as last season. They're really unproven, so I don't see how they're going to really have as much potential as last season's team. However, they could still end up 7-6 and have the same record, but I still see it being a down season. On to the next team that I think is going to rise in 2022. We're going to take a look at the ACC and look at Louisville. Now, Louisville is coming off a 6-7 campaign, and you may be thinking that's not the best. However, 4 of their 7 losses that they had came by 6 points or less. When talking about the Cardinals returning production for this upcoming season, they are returning 79% of their production from last year's team to this year's 22 squad. Now, I think Louisville is going to be a lot better team in 2022 than they were in 2021. They had a good offense last season, especially with Malik Cunningham at quarterback 1, someone that I feel like is very underrated at that quarterback position, and someone that everyone should really keep their eyes on as a top quarterback in college football. I do think their defense, which did struggle quite a bit last season, will improve more this season, and I do see them having a solid year and improving from last year to this year. I don't think they're going to win the ACC or be in the championship game, but all around, I think they're going to be a better team. When looking at the next team that I think is going to fall and have a down year in 2022, I have Arizona State. Arizona State is coming off an 8-5 campaign. However, they're losing a lot of talent and production from last year's team to this year's team, and overall have a lot of drama surrounding the program, and this could be Herm Edwards' last season as the head coach of the Sun Devils. When talking about returning production, they're returning 57% of the production from last year's team to this year's team, which isn't necessarily the worst, but it's not necessarily the best. Arizona State in 2022 could still be a bowl team. However, I really don't see them being better than last season. They're losing a lot of key pieces to that team they had last year, especially on both sides of the ball. And even though the offense wasn't the best last season, being one of the lowest scoring offenses in the nation, kind of near the bottom half, but their defense didn't allow that many points a game, 22nd in the nation to be precise. I just don't see how Arizona State's going to be a better team than they were last season. But hey, I could be wrong. Going on to another team that I think is going to have another rising year in 2022, it is Utah. Now, Utah is already coming off a strong 21 season in which they went 10-4, they won the Pac-12, and they even made it to the Rose Bowl. When talking about returning production, they return quite a bit, as they're returning 67% of their production from last year's team to this year's team, and they're a very good coached ball club, as they play hard-nosed football, and they can get it done on offense, and they can certainly get it done on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I think Utah is going to be a lot better as a team in 2022, even though they are losing some key pieces on that defense. Here's my thought behind that. Cameron Rising, he's returning as their QB1, and Utah has done better in the past with their returning starting quarterback. And in the beginning of 2021, when Charlie Brewer was the starting quarterback, Utah struggled, even starting off 1-2 in a year where a lot of people thought they were going to have a big season overall. But once Cameron Rising became the main guy for Utah, they really took off. And all I can see is a lot of potential for the Utes in 2022. They may even make a playoff push near the end and make a name for themselves in that college football playoff race. And I'm expecting yet again another big season from Cameron Rising. On to the final team that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. It's a team that I feel like if I miss something in this video, it's going to be because of this part. And I'm talking about Auburn. I think they're going to have another down year in 2022, even though 2021 was kind of a down season for the Tigers, as they went 6-7. When talking about returning production, Auburn is returning a solid amount, as they're returning 65% of their production from last year's team to this year's squad. Now, I made an SEC prediction video a while back, and I did say best case scenario, I thought Auburn was going to go 9-3. However, I also thought worst case scenario, they would go 5-7. I kind of see them as a wild card team. I feel like they're either going to shock some people or they're really going to have a down season. Well, guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with my takes, and who do you think is going to rise in 2022 and who do you think is going to fall. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.